All right. So, my scanner anomaly. So, I tried to think of a way to make this smaller. Nothing came to mind. So, we're going to run through the entire history of this asset. We're going to be talking about Archon Station. Now, if you go to the SE Tools wiki, you'll notice that there are two images that come up. Let me see if I can actually do this correctly without doing it badly. Actually wanted to do this the other way, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll do it live. Let's make sure that I'm doing that so I don't screw it up. And I would have screwed it up. There we go. So you get two different images for Archon Station. You get this one, and you get this one. Now, I think we can all agree, Tree included, that these are not the same station. Not that they're a different name station, but that these two assets are two different assets. Right? There's one with the blue background and lasers coming off of it, and this one with the, I guess, dusty cloud look, right? You'd agree that those are two different assets in the game?
Yeah, they are definitely different looking, and they're also located in different places.
Right.
So, unless that thing can get packed up and moved, which I doubt, considering that first image is an Idris on the left-hand side underneath that long boom arm out there. I don't think there's anything in the game that's going to pack that up and move it, or anything in the verse.
So, my entire goal of this kind of spectrum anomaly. I think I just screwed up the name. Anyway. Scanner anomaly. Scanner anomaly. Spectrum pulse scanner anomaly. I can do my own show, I swear. Is to prove, or at least to convince, that Station B, which we're going to call this one Station B. I know I showed it first, but this is Station B. This is Station A. Okay? That Station B is not Archon. Now, to start off, whenever I read Shubin, do not automatically associate with Archon, because it gets really muddy in these monthly reports. And I basically went and copied anytime they mentioned a Shubin or Archon in every single monthly report since 2014.
Would you say that it becomes nebulous?
I would say it becomes very nebulous in the middle.
We totally need a little thing where you spend little credits.
Yep.
And every time one of them says nebulous, somebody can buy a little thing and it makes a noise or something like that, or something pops up on screen.
Yeah. If I could, I need like a nebula to just flow across the screen. Yeah. So let's get into said monthly reports, and then we also had some shots from two different videos with a poignant, convincing evidence at the end of two different trailers. So remember, every time I say Shubin, does not mean Archon. Alright. So, in 2014, March 2014, published in April. So, every time I say 1 month, it will be published the next month, because that's how monthly reports work. They come out a month later. So, in March, Aaron Roberts, studio director, we are also looking at the blockouts for the Vandal Cap ship fleet next month, as well as more work on the full blockout of the Shubin Mining base. That is the first time we hear in a monthly report of a Shubin Mining base or a Shubin Station or Archon. These are going to get more specifically named later. We'll talk about that later, a little later on, a few more years in the future at this point. Okay, and then in April, so the next month, in design, Nick Elms, design director. So they all wrote these. They weren't as summarized as they are now. It says the Shubin mining platform is making good progress in the same stage, with significant detailing on the monorail and landing pad sections. We've also detailed the refinery rooms, which have some serious machinery. We're filling out void areas with engineering ducts and hidden canneries. Then we move on. Crannies. Yeah, canneries, crannies, same difference. I don't know why I can't read. May 2014. At least I have Tree for that. That Tree's good at telling me I'm wrong. May 2014. Art, Paul Jones. Work is also underway on the large Shubin Mining platform, making sure it's on tier and white box ready for design to start prototyping missions. June 2014, art director Paul Jones again. What about cap ships? Modular tier interiors are laid out, and now we need to push more through the concept pipeline to have the key rooms designed to meet Squadron 42's cinematic requirements. This is also the case for Shubin, now that we have a good idea of mission requirements. So, this is the first time that it doesn't say mining platform anymore. He just said Shubin. This is where it starts getting muddy. Also, there's a little bit of modular talk in here. We had a previous episode where you can go check out where we talk about where on earth is modular. Because after around 2015-16, modular talk just kind of dropped off the map and then sprang back up semi-recently last 2 years. And now it's hidden again. So go check out what's up with that in previous podcasts. So we're now into August 2014. It says art concept work has taken place on Shubin Interior. Again, no mention of which Shubin or whatever. Amongst all that, we have also hopped back to grayboxing the Shubin exterior for the vertical slice. So we've seen the vertical slice, or if you haven't, I would recommend it. It's a very good video. So this specifically ties what this Shubin is in this specific paragraph to a specific station, because we see which station it is in that vertical slice, which we'll be seeing later on in the anomaly. September 2014, Shubin Mining Facility. So this is that mining facility again, but it's labeled Archon this time. So Shubin Mining Facility Archon has reached the stage of Graybox Complete. It's a huge challenge, but the visuals are matching its physical size. No shaders yet, lots of geo, and I mean lots. To give you an idea, there are 26 landing pads. Keep that in mind as well. 26 landing pads located around the facility.
Oh my gosh.
Each of them the player can land on, get out of the ship, and walk around. All of these details will help make Shubin facility feel more like a living and breathing environment. Concept department has shown a little this month. Instead of 100 miles per hour, it's more like 90 miles per hour. It's Shubin Interior wrapping up. I actually don't know what that was in reference to. Though it mentioned Shubin, so I threw it in here. Might have been a thing that was mentioned elsewhere. I might have just copied the wrong sentence. They just said Shubin, so I'm like, yes, that one. I don't know why I didn't check.
26 pads surrounding the
26
facility.
of them, yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Because that's as big as the stations we have now, essentially. Or pretty close. When it comes to, depending on how big those pads are. Because this is 2014. I don't know. That's a lot of landing pads. I imagine a lot of that has to do with like ships coming.
That's way more than what we have now.
Yeah.
Because normal stations have like
the size and scale.
8 to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Somewhere around 12.
Pads and stations, but yeah, that's just nuts.
Pads and hangars.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I'm counting both as the same thing for just absolute count. Because the hangars have, some of the hangars have pads.
Yeah,
wow.
There's
a lot less on the current ones. A lot less.
Yeah, this is a fully fleshed out station versus the ones we have now. There's an obscene amount of empty space in them.
Yeah.
Whereas this is that big and it's full.
Yeah, as we'll get to further on, like they are chalking this station full of stuff. And I don't think it actually made it into any of the monthly reports, but there are videos where they mention like this is being built not just for Squadron. This asset, Shubin Mining Facility Archon, I'll say the entire name, is being built specifically as they didn't say landing zone, but I'm going to say landing zone for the Persistent Universe. This is a major location in Odin. So, there's a reason so much work Was it 8 years of work into it? Right? Is that what it comes out to? 5,
Well, I
6,
guess it
7,
just
8, yeah,
depends on.
8 years of work. Assuming.
Well, it's 8 years of work, but they've been working on. If you believe what you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
they've been working on two of these assets for 8 years.
We'll get to some of that.
Yeah, I mean, well,
Um,
maybe one of them got done,
it's
and then they moved on to the next one, and that's why you've got 8 years worth of work to build these two
how it
monstrous
reads.
places.
It's not so much like that because they would have had to come up at least staggered.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
And there's also, like I said, modular earlier, modular building sets. Once you
Mhm.
finish the one, you're able to take all that and quickly build a new one with
Yeah.
the interior. And also, I forgot where my thought was going,
Sorry.
but it's fine. Um, the Nope, I lost it. Anyway, November 2014, environment art. It says this month, we've created the interior tier building set for Shubin Interstellar. So this is the company Shubin Interstellar. So their kind of style of their interior. It's really basic white box geometric split up. I don't know how to read that. It's really basic white box geometric split up into individual building blocks, which can be used to create an almost infinite variety of layouts. Interesting. Why would they need infinite variety if we're talking about one station? Again, Shubin is one of the, if not the biggest company in the entire game. So just keep that in mind. They're going to need to use those a bit more. Design department
Yeah.
can...
Oh, I hadn't thought about that at all. That totally makes sense. That if that this is this is the station, but it's modular on the inside because they're going to tailor it depending on where they are, what they're mining, how many people are working there. But they would have. Oh, that totally makes sense that they would build this and reuse it and put it all
Just
over
like
the
they done the
verse.
Idris and the Javelin,
Oh my gosh, that makes so
and
much sense.
to
I
some
hadn't thought
degree the
about that at all.
Bengal.
Yeah, yeah, because these Shubin mining stations are going to be wherever Shubin is mining in the verse. Every time you go to a new system with an asteroid belt, or a wrecked moon or something like that that has a bunch of mineable assets, Shubin's going to be there with one of these monstrosities. That totally. Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
Especially if it's this big and it's like a landing zone.
Yeah, not every station's going to be landing zone size. Obviously, it takes way too long,
Yeah,
8 years or something.
but if it's modular, then they can,
Right.
basically,
Combine their
almost like the stations they
modular,
have now.
interior with the modular exteriors that they worked on later on that we have in the game now. Then you
Mhm.
start getting a very quick way to throw up stylized stations.
Yeah, and not just little ones, really
Not just little
big
ones.
ones.
And we'll be getting the building interior stuff later on, so stuff starts to get
What
done a
size
lot
mining
faster.
laser is that?
What size mining laser? Let's see. We have a 7,
30.
10. Yeah, somewhere around 30. We'll go with 30. We'll go with station size. Like, we're
Mhm.
going to skip the whole vehicle scale, which we're going to start station. It's just going to be mining laser size station.
Retribution class is too small.
Let's see. Design department can now run free and create environments using this building set without needing art support, leaving the art team to get started on the gray box phase. Now, here's interesting. Didn't they already say they were working in the gray box?
Well,
Archon
I mean,
has reached. Hold on. September 2014. Archon has reached the stage of gray box complete. November. Art team can get started on the gray box phase.
Hmm.
Now, you could read this that they're doing something with the building set. That's gray boxing more building sets. You could read it that way. I'm here to present all the information and let you make your decisions, both Tree and the viewer and the listener.
Yep, that's what we do.
But to me,
Objective first, subjective later.
that's the possibly the second gray box. So this would be what we're going to call Station B, gray boxing Station B. It goes on to say we've also started to get an outstanding understanding of what being inside the facility is like and drive the type of artistic experience you get as you engage in various missions. This specific mention of missions is specifically Squadron, I assume, though they could mean what type of missions they could get done in the Pacific universe as well. But it is being built for very Squadron first approaches. Not only will it be functional, but also mechanically beautiful in its own way. I mean, I can't wait to see the interior. It's basically Archon is supposed to be basically an entire city, so I can't wait. Okay, design same month, November 2014. The modular Shubin-based components are starting to roll from art, and they look great. So just putting everything in here that had to do with the station. December 2014. Environment art. We have been continuing to graybox the Shubin Interstellar interior building set, so I would lend credence to it's the grayboxing of the interior set, not necessarily the second station or Station B. All the major components have been fleshed out, and now we are really starting to dial into the details. Everything from wall panels to handles, the shape language for Shubin Interstellar has been defined, so the player will be able to distinguish its architectural style from other corporations within the Star Citizen universe. The upshot of this is that the Shubin universe is now taking on its own personality and life. Shubin universe. I don't know why I picked that, like, that stuck in my brain, the Shubin universe. I mean, like I said, it is the one of, or if not the biggest corporation in the game. Could rival any other corporation, but it spreads out through the entire empire, and they have a lot of political sway as well. So keep that in mind. As you
they've been mentioned in, if you follow the lore, they've been mentioned in a lot of the lore posts, especially when it comes to things regarding talking about I think it's like Congress Now or something like that is one of the series that they do. They've been mentioned multiple times, and it was not an accident that the Squadron 42 trailer included that quote from, dang, I forgot the name of the actor. He's super famous, but Shubin is a really big company in the UAE with a lot of influence, and I'd hate for thinly veiled threats. And, that's totally par for the course for Shubin.
Yeah, it's scary big. Like it I always think of Shubin like just as a, rough and tough mining company. No. They're a really big, like, no-face corporation that will kill you and spit you out with nobody batting an eye because they can't match, like, they have too much power. They could take a system militarily and just tell the UE, don't bother. Not that they have warships, but they have that much just power.
Tinfoil hat. I think one of the main reasons that we're going to war with the Vanduul, and there's even talk about retaking those human systems and pushing back against the Vanduul, is so we can get more systems for Shubin to mine. Because they're looking at what we have within the Empire, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna run out of stuff to mine. We need to expand, because Shubin really isn't like a bunch of the other corporations. They're not diversified well. They are,
they also don't need to be. They have enough power to just say, I need more resources. Find me more resources.
Yeah.
So,
because they've got agreements with the Xi'an and the Banu to probably mine within their systems, but that's not going to be enough.
Yeah, and remember, the Fair Chance Act was up on the floor not too long ago. A whole nother planet to exploit?
Can't imagine who's behind that.
Oh, there's a lot of stuff. Anyway, moving in to 2015 in January. Environment art team. The team has been working towards getting the Shubin Interstellar interior building set to Grey Box complete. Excuse me. The main architectural elements are finished, so now we are focusing on the smaller details. Our vertical slice level for Squadron 42 is looking really promising. We are still continuing to refine the layout as more assets get transformed from white box to gray box geometry, and as design works on gameplay. That was the first mention of the vertical slice, and we know what's in the vertical slice. We've seen the playthrough. The vertical slice, however, is probably bigger than we saw in the video. Because they're doing a second vertical slice to a feature complete state right now. And they are probably not going to give us a gameplay demo of that one. So the vertical slice they're working on is just to get a good gold standard that they can then take that and make sure that is the standard that they flesh out and finish the rest of the game too. So the first vertical slice, which we actually had a video on, or Star Citizen had a video on, was probably a little bit more than they actually showed us. They probably have a couple more missions, or at least finishing of the mission they were on, which could have...
I'm going to hold out hope that we get to see the next one. Don't burst my bubble, Nazeris.
I think it's too close to it finishing for it to matter. I think holding off on another video to kind of like stir that pot a bit more, because they know we're wanting. The second they start saying something, once we start getting the briefing room videos back up, of a vertical slice will not matter, and they can fit us much smaller bits.
I think the vertical slice is for like a trade show demo to take a Gamescom or whatever.
Yeah, that could be.
Allow some people to play it, show a video of it as part of the announcement.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So we get
the lead up to release.
So in that kind of a format, we get a video. We definitely get a video if they're showing it at a Gamescom. We get a video, probably a CitizenCon. So this year or next. And then we'd have the start of the briefing room, which would probably highlight a lot of elements. Well, almost all the briefing room would probably be something from that vertical slice. As long as it's not, spoilering anything. So, yeah. Moving on to February 2015. The environment team, Ian. This month has been the Shubin Interstellar interior building set hit. This month has seen the Shubin Interstellar interior building set hit gray box complete. So now the interior building set is done, or at least gray box done. It needs texturing and stuff like that, but the geometry is done. Which means all the building components have a good amount of mesh detail and are looking lovely. We've also been building the PBR master shader library for this set, basically textures and shading, plastics, metals, glass, etc., and applying them to establish an established beautification corner. This is where we take a corner of the level up to final art so that the art director, Ian, can see a good representation of how the finished set will look. A modular pass has been done on the exterior of Shubin to enable the design team to create our other space station facilities. So, they got at least a corner of it, or they started getting a corner of it to gold standard, basically. Final art of the station itself, and the textures are being worked on, and the building set is gray box complete. So if they were to start splitting off, it'd be somewhere near here. Then we didn't get another mention of it till March, and it simply said Shubin Lighting Pass. Only 3 words, that's all we got. We got a break again till June 2015. Under art, then art concept, or concept art, because formatting changed a lot over the years. It used to be all written by the directors. Then it stopped being written by the directors. And now we're like art and then art concept. Now we just have it giant sections of art ships, art environment. So a lot's changed with the month reports. Anyway, it says biggies this month have been the Bengal bridge update and the mining bot. Maybe some foreshadowing for a future episode. Additional work continued on the Bearing Ballistic Shotgun Xi'an transport ship, Vandal fleet, and further prop concept definition to add the Shubin Mining base and a few pirate bases needed for Squadron 42 storyline. No spoilers. I do plan on making, maybe not next week, whenever we do Scan Anomalies next, we'll be on the mining bot. Because apparently it's gone through several iterations as well. It was drivable, then it wasn't drivable, it was smaller, then it was bigger.
The Sidness.
The Sidness, yeah.
Gotcha,
so
okay.
I came across a video of it, and it very clearly had a cockpit.
Yeah. Yep.
So, and I've seen not cockpits on other ones.
Yeah, I've seen not cockpit in concept art, but in engine, it's always had a cockpit. But you can see it in the Squadron 42 vertical slice, but it's so far away you can't tell.
And they specifically mentioned in a video that I'll bring out for the bot specifically that it was being built to be driven by players for mining in the persistent universe. So, be sure to watch that video. That'll be next week or the week after, whenever we get back to actually writing our own segments. Next, we didn't see it again till August 2015 under art. Some of the tasks we worked on in our concept included Shubin exterior. That's it. That's all we got. So it got really vague in the middle. November 2015, another big gap. The concept team has been working on additional work for the Shubin facility for Squadron 42 storyline areas. Another new name, the Shubin facility. So we now have Shubin, Archon, Mining, and facility. So, yay, we now have 4 different names for the same place.
It's getting more nebulous.
Then we...
Everybody drink.
Oh, jeez. December 2015, so 1 month later. Gary finished the Xi'an Scout and has really gone to town helping define further interiors for the Shubin Mining facility. Now it's Shubin Mining facility. Instead of Shubin facility or Shubin Mining. Shubin Mining it's fine. Environmental art. The last month in Frankfurt environment team has worked on the Shubin space station. Now we're back to space station.
In the same monthly report.
Same monthly report.
Yeah.
A high-tech mining facility whose role is to crack asteroids in order to mine the valuable materials that they may contain. Shubin will be featured heavily. Shubin will be featured heavily in the Squadron 42 campaign and will differ from other space stations in its design. Being a very high-tech facility, this station is going to be one of the biggest so far, giving the player the freedom to fly around the huge superstructure and, of course, land and explore the interior on foot. From an artist point of view, Shubin has been a huge challenge, but at the same time, a very rewarding one, giving us the freedom to explore new designs and really try to develop something that we think will provide real sense of awe when the player initially experience it in game. And yeah, it will. Oof. So, a high-tech facility, high-tech mining facility. Very interesting. So that is everything we got from 2015. That ended in December, so we now we progress through to January 2016. There's only 3 reports from 2016. Don't worry, they get less and less as time goes on. January 2016 art concept. This month, the team has converted Shubin corridor and main bridge. Converted. That actually is a good point against me. Converted Shubin corridor.
It says covered.
Covered. Shubin covered. Okay, never mind. I rescind that point against me. Converted. It looks like converted.
Don't worry, I got you.
Yeah. So converted, covered the corridor, Shubin corridor, and main bridge. with concept art. So this is concept art again. Again, why are we in concept? Anyway, February 2016. Art. The team has been full steam ahead. Initial concepts and internal concepts and external, all busting out, fab looking work, and it's been varied. It's been a very varied lot too. There we go. Can somebody decode that? Can you decode that into an actual sentence? Oh, fabulous looking work, and it's been a varied. I don't. Maybe that's.
So the work is varied.
Yes.
Fabulous and it's varied.
Maybe that's just across the pond type of sentencing. Because it doesn't make sense in my brain. It might be. I'm sorry. Here's a list. I'm sure you'll discern what belongs to what, they said. I only grabbed a snippet of it. Shubin pilot briefing room, Shubin bridge, redacted ship cargo room. Is that the Bengal, I guess? Shubin station, look dev for the gravity room, and communal areas. So that's stuff they worked on. It doesn't say what
Research
work
station.
done for.
I wonder what the research station is, because I don't think it's Asiedo, because that's Asiedo's a comma ray.
Yeah.
Yeah, a really big one.
So research
That's
station
another thing.
was one of
the
my
Asiedo comma rays
Mhm.
are going to be everywhere.
Well,
Yeah,
as
they're going.
there's the Asiato ones, which is a company, and then there's also the ICC probes.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be a lot of different comm ray stuff, and then there's the ICC
Well,
comm
the
rays
Asiedo ones or those types, the big transmission dishes
are for deep space.
are going to be the ones that transmit stuff, information across systems, and then it goes through probes or whatever into the jump points to the next system, gets transmitted, and so on. Like that's how
Yeah,
information gets
there's gonna be a
transmitted across.
whole net of different communication satellites and stations. The Asiato that we saw, the Asiato comm ray that we saw, is a specific to a specific, I forget what it was, but a specific, its purpose was not general communications, it was a specific manned comm ray. Most, like the comm rays we have in the Precision Universe, are not manned, and they are for general communication around the system. The ICC probes that we used to have in game are placed very specifically in places where they want to look for jump points. That was what the ICC probes are for. So Tessa Bannister was specifically there to monitor the probe for finding new jump points, which is probably why we haven't seen her since, because there's no more jump points to find in Stanton, probably. But yeah, there's going to be a whole net in different companies taking up different areas, just like the repair stations where we have R&R now. There's also CTC, which is a Xi'an-owned company, which also does repair and refuel. And we'll see those in any space near Xi'an space. So it'll be just another flavor.
Asiedo Com Relay, or simply Asiedo. Asiedo Com Relay is the name of the company, and it's just Asiedo for short. But it is responsible for building the com relay infrastructure around the UEE.
Oh,
Asiedo has developed the technology to allow for system-to-system communications.
Weird. Okay, so that must have been newer. Was that newer?
That's just the in-game description, but products: interstellar communications equipment, drones, relay towers, relay stations.
Because they a while ago they said that no interstellar communications would be done by remote.
No, I think it's what do you mean by remote? Because I think it means
no
like
beaming communications in between star systems.
I mean like what'll happen is I think those is a giant transmission dish thing, and so it's pointed. There'll be one at like sort of each jump point or something like that, or strategically in order to, okay, this information comes through this jump point over here, and the comm drones You transmit the information in shortwave or whatever to the oscillator relays, which then beam it across the system to wherever it needs to go.
Then put it
and
on
then
truck
can
and get it through.
Yeah, and then it get picked up somewhere else by another drone, another relay, and pushed, through another jump point.
That's going to be fun. Your entire job is just going back and forth through a single jump point.
Yeah.
Because remember, jump points is not just a hand-wavy way to load in and out systems. They actually cross a lot of space. Like, you can, it will be feasible for you to actually pilot your ship slow boating from Stanton to Pyro. I don't know if it's coming in 4.0, but it will be eventually possible. Or you could just take the jump point and save, like, months of travel. And that's months of our travel.
Yeah.
In game, it's
the
years
big
of travel.
relays are different, and they perform a different function than the comm arrays that we have. The comm arrays are more like local transmission,
phone lines,
and local comm coverage. Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
Sorry, tangent.
That's fine. Let's see. Where were we? We are in March 2016. Cinematics. We've also started up work on Shubin Station. Shubin Station performance capture scenes that involve Old Man, and Graves, who look awesome. Those scenes will take a while and will involve lots of blending between PCAP and AI locomotion as they traverse big parts of the station on foot. We realize first-person pass on a part of Chapter 3 scene. Yeah, we finalized a first-person pass on a part of Chapter 3 scene and are still working on more of Chapter 3. So it's just something that they mentioned with it. I don't think I have too much more cinematic, well, I do have more cinematic stuff. Most of the cinematic stuff can be ignored because it's not really any substantial things of the station, neither here nor there. Just basically if they had the station in cinematic form. January, so next year. So we didn't get anything from March till the end of the year. So January 2017, next year. Art. On the SQ-42 front, the Shubin base. Hold on. Shubin Mining Facility. Archon. What was the other one? Something else. We had 5 before, and now we have station and base. We now have 6 terms for presumably one station. Because there's
nebulous.
no clear there's no clear distinction. Because they use them interchangeably. They come back in, like, different terms are used at different points. And like we saw earlier, 2 different terms are used in the same report, just by 2 different teams. So, moving on. Where do we go? Right, Shooting Base is having a major push visually at the moment. Since it's a massive part of the story, we're making sure it's the hero it deserves to be. And this was 2017, January 2017. Okay, so that was another break, and then we get to April, so nothing until April, and it's Cinemax team, so neither here nor there. The team's primary focus continued to be performance capture scenes across numerous Squadron 42 chapters. The current priority are, story scenes on board the giant Shubin Archon facility. So the level designers and artists can finalize the Shubin environments. In addition, the team edited a big sequence for the middle of the story and progressed with setting the vista for a major story event during the opening of the game. Well, that's foreboding. So, Shubin Archon facility and Shubin. They mentioned it with 2 different names in 1 paragraph. A little consistency would be nice. May, so another break till May. Environmental art. The art team continued to hammer away at Shubin Mining Station. Now we're back to Mining Station. Interior and focused on improving the overall believability of the structure by zeroing in on the functionality of the individual areas. Is it complicated yet? It's confusing? Is it? Anyone? Okay. July. So another break till July. Environmental art. In Squadron 42, the Shubin layout, now it's just back to Shubin, is being wrapped up. So Shubin layout is being wrapped up. Okay, got it. Both design and art happy with the space can start final implementation. There have been specific scrutiny on making the whole facility a believable and functional location with its own transit system, worker routes, refineries, security, and medical facilities. The hangars connected in a logical way. This helps convince the player they are in a working, active environment with its own set of logic and rules. We've also worked on a section of the exterior to a final visual target. This will help solve questions of scale and read and material. This will help solve questions of scale, read, and material definition. I added an and twice. Okay. Remember, this is 2017. That's very important for what I'm about to show you in two more reads. September 2017. Concept art. This month, they've tackled a few more areas of the mining station. Oh, this is getting annoying. I haven't read this all the way through yet, so going back and forth and just reading straight through it is just making me upset. Really,
I'm all out of beer, so we can't keep saying nebulous.
Nebulous.
It's empty. It's all gone.
Oh, jeez. And some of the spacescaping. All right. December. So another gap till September. Or December. Another gap from September to December. Okay. Cinemax team. Work was done on the track view nav spline tech that allows them to precisely puppeteer AI ships. Wow, that was a long time ago. Like going from the interior zone to outside Shubin space seamlessly. Interesting, it didn't say station. Just outside of Shubin space. Was that typo? Who knows? Anyway, before we get too far down. I mean, we've already gone too far down. Let's get this up so that you guys can see this. There we go. This was 2017. This is what they had. This is what we've been talking about, at least as far as we know, up until this point. This is Archon, Shubin Interstellar Mining Facility. Now it's all in one word. And we know that we've got gray box complete. The interior is now mostly done. There's 26 landing pads. And they are working on to final art. They're just about final art for the station. This video came out in 2017 this is the clip from the vertical slice. So, let's get back into the trenches and see what else there is past this point. Because we got another video later on. We'll see snippets of that as we move forward. As I try and find a way where we were. Okay, so 2018. This is going to get complicated. December. So we didn't hear anything till December. A whole year later. Cinematics. Yes, it's a cinematics. There's some environment art later. But cinematics. After completing the CitizenCon Squadron 42 teaser trailer, very important, cinematics took time to verify that each scene was functioning correctly from start to finish. This mainly involved the Shubin Station art packet. Environmental art. The vast Shubin Mining Station. Interesting. They used very similar terms. Not the same term, because one said mining, one didn't say mining. So, still nebulous, but little closer. They both said Shubin Station. Getting more detail to the supporting structure around it, developing the facilities bridge, as first seen in the CitizenCon 2948 trailer. Continued, which comes in around... Developing this facilities bridge... developing of the facilities bridge continued, which comes in at around 3 times the size of a Bengal.
That's nuts.
Yes, it is. All right, so let's look at the well, let me make sure I have the correct one because it shows up in 2. We want specifically the CitizenCon one. And I don't have, neither of these are labeled CitizenCon, so I'm gonna have to go back to the thing that I have like 50 different windows open, and it's a headache. That says the year, not CitizenCon. We're looking for 20. There we go. 2948 specific. 2948. Keynote, we're looking for the trailer. Digital art. There was a trailer. There's a lot of stuff from this. Adventure continues. Short space industries. Where did the trailer go? I want to make sure that I have the correct one because I'm sure I have the same video. It's just not labeled the same. I want to make sure that I pull up the correct correct video itself. I'm doing a horrible job of looking this up. Mostly because they don't have it. The CitizenCon 2948 trailer. Oh, okay, I have it. I had it in a different tab because I knew I'd be doing this. All right, so we're going to switch over to this. We're actually going to play it. This is the trailer they're talking about. And remember, it says we first saw what they're talking about in this video. So we're going to watch this.
If you're listening on podcasts, Google it, pull it up on YouTube. Say the description again one more time, whatever you search for.
CitizenCon Squadron 42-CitizenCon 2948 trailer. It's also audibly impressive, so.
I saw you apply to the Flight Academy again.
I'm your new wingman, sir.
Coil. Local scum use it for cover to launch attacks. This is their turf, so move when I'm moving. Keep your eyes open.
No southern moves.
Who the hell are you?
We're OMC. And OMC belongs to Khan. Is that your boss? Are we supposed to be scared of him or something? Yeah.
The OMC aren't the only ones listening into comms.
Is it playing?
Yeah.
I'm watching on Twitch. I don't see it.
You don't? What do you see?
We're under attack by Vandal forces. Repeat, we are under attack.
Yeah, watching on Twitch and YouTube.
Gonna take a quick pause on that. Let me see. I think they might be. Yeah, I see it. What do you see?
Oh, now it's there.
Oh, it's just really far behind. We've been having some internet issues, so it's just really far behind.
There have been battles.
We're gonna try something. We're gonna stop the recording. Yeah.
Each and every one of you has proven yourself time and again. We will not lose the system. We We will not fall back.
Form up, Cal. You got a point.
Copy that. Tally's on me. Let's say hi.
We will win. Because we have to.
Well, that ended abruptly. Anyway. So, that was the trailer to talk about. The as first seen in the CitizenCon 2948 trailer. That was the trailer. So, let me read the paragraph again now that we've seen it. And I'm going to have to call the cable guy again because my internet's going to 0 again. Yay. That's going to be fun. So, the vast Shubin Mining Station gained more detail to the supporting structure around it, developing the facility's bridge, as first seen in CitizenCon 2948, continued, what comes in at around 3 times the size of a Bengal. So, we didn't see what was called Archon, nor did they refer to it as Archon. They referred to it as Shubin Mining Station, as seen in in the CitizenCon trailer. This is probably one of the bigger evidence I have of them being 2 different mining stations. Because we've seen Archon much earlier. They could have just said it was Archon. But they said also the first time we've seen this was in that trailer. And that is 2018. The vertical slice came out in 2017. And we saw a station labeled Archon, specifically in the start of the vertical slice. So, all that together is the specific evidence I have of them being 2 different stations. Shubin stations? Yes. Mining stations? Also yes. However, one's Archon and one is not. We have a couple more to go, but that is the big brunt of the evidence right there. In January, and this is the one that kind of goes weird and gets a bit more...
dang it. Because the vertical slice in 2017 was like a year and a half before that CitizenCon trailer in,
Yes, it was.
in 2018.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big difference. Yeah.
But that's... but they've been working on Archon for 3 years. Well, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 years. Well, no, 3 years, 3 years. It's been 3 years. Anyway, so next we don't hear anything else till the beginning of the next year. So I guess a month later from that one, but till next year. January 2019. Cinematic. A key sequence was brought to the current Shubin coil pocket, as the placement of asteroids and the clouds had changed due to the evolution of Gaskell tech, so there was a need to adjust framing and lighting. Some scenes were adjusted in the Shubin Foundry. A 7th name. Oh boy. So now we have a Shubin
That could just be an
Foundry.
interior location in the...
Yes, it very well could be, but they don't specify. They haven't specified, they don't specify. I'm just saying they refer to something Shubin with another name attached to it. That's all I'm saying. An undefined thing. Art environment, or environment art. As we're continued on Archon Station, this one time it's named. With its exterior watertight, the team is now tying up loose ends where sections of the exterior may intersect with the interior. While easy to hide things like this, the entire station is being constructed with correct interior and exterior dimensions as the ships are. Transport systems are being placed into Archon Station, with final art for each section currently being worked on. So, this paragraph specifically says they are pushing for final art on Archon. They were approaching final art in 2017. It seemed. Then we had the 2018 CitizenCon trailer of that other station. Station B, we're calling it. Is Station A Station B? That's what we're here to find out. Now, here is the biggest evidence against me. I didn't save the image because I forgot it. Okay. Where'd it go? There we are. So this was put right after that paragraph they were talking about Archon. It is labeled Shubin Exterior. Which Shubin? Not a clue. It just says Shubin and Squadron. So we know it's for it is Squadron art, and it is Shubin Exterior. However, if you look in, I believe it's this one, you can very plainly see something that looks awfully like this thing. In my opinion, looking at this a second time, this strut is a bit thick and round to be, I believe it's that one, to be this, because this is a lot thicker here than is there, and in this, it's the same thickness all the way across. So, maybe it's a port, and maybe they use this for more than just this area. I don't know, but we can plainly see it there, and I couldn't find it on any of the concepts for Archon specifically. Not Station B. Alright, so that is the biggest evidence against me, is that specific structure is seen on Station B. And this paragraph was calling out Archon Station. Moving forward to February 2019, Art Environment, this is the now current format of the monthly reports. As mentioned last month, Archon Station's exterior is watertight, and now all surfaces are complete with collision meshes added for good measure. The layout does a fantastic job of selling the station's scale when both far away and up close, with the main transit system also integrated, with all shops and secondary systems being finished throughout March. So, it's interesting. One, it says just for good measure they added collision mesh, which they previously said it's going to be in PU anyway. I don't know. But the selling scale from far away and close. Me personally, this is definitely a personal viewpoint. The Archon from 2017 had much easier read on scale than the 2018 Station B. Station B, like, it looks like it could be a very big ship. It doesn't look that big until you realize the trailer had a Gladius flying trench style through it. But from far away, it doesn't have that good of read. So, in my opinion, the Archon from 2017 had a better read. I don't know if that means anything to the convincing you one way or another. Just saying, that's my opinion on it. May are we in? Yes, May 2019. Art Environment. Significant effort was put into the traversable areas found around Archon Station. Again, calls out Archon specifically. This, with the team keen to avoid the standard room corridor room approach, and fully open out the station to highlight its sheer scale once the areas are further developed. A dynamic pass will take place to give each corner life and movement using the lessons learned from the investigation earlier in the year. I did not go back and actually check what investigation that was or if they said anything about it. Moving through to June 2019, Arch Environment again. They don't call out which specifically studio or team. It just says all of CIG Arch Environment. So that's what the new kind of format is. They don't really tell you which specific team, but obviously it's Squadron 42 team somewhere. The team pushed further with Archon Station's traversable sections, which are now essentially content complete. So another thing that's content complete, which, I mean, I'm calling these out specifically because getting Squadron out the door, not specifically for the station thing, but we now have the build set that was completed. We have, we noted that the station was gray box complete, or at least approaching final art, and then essentially final art complete. And then we also had watertight earlier. They are now moving into creating the detail, such as the messes of machinery and pipework that fill the station. As mentioned in previous update, the team is keen to get away from the room corridor mentality and are instead working in traversable paths around important structural features. This is kind of just like really muddy information because we don't. It says Archon, but it could be either at this point. They past 2018. Station B does like there's no mention specifically of Station B. They mostly mention Archon in 2019. If they don't and they just missed it, now the next two are Archon specific. Okay, July 2019, art environment again. Archon Station, central hub, receives significant attention too, including early explorations of lighting and atmosphere. The aim is to have this social space feel as alive as possible, and to accurately portray the fact thousands of people live here and visit every day. August 2019, Archon Station, again. Interior progress well throughout August. The social hub is coming to a close, and many of the teams have moved into the engineering sections seen during key parts of the campaign. So, we have lots of Archon work, no mention of any other space station. Not even... they're very specifically saying Archon Station every single time. Last one for 2019 is October. Archon Station progressed through the months with attention going to the engineering sections, which they just said they were moving to, and the arms of the station. Players will traverse through several areas, through several different archetypes, with each one needing its own distinct feel. The hero station is in the final development stages, with smaller variants coming soon. With smaller variants coming soon. I like that one. Smaller variants. Interesting.
That's interesting.
Again, one of the things that stands out to me, if I can remember what my thought was. Oh, yes. It's 2019 now. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. They've been working on Archon for 5 years now. I
imagine it needed a lot of updating.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Remember, everything changed 2016.
Yeah. Updating the textures, updating, things to make it look, because the visual look of everything has
it went way higher.
Dramatically.
Yeah.
And so with that, I'm sure there's a lot more work to bring what they had built up to the current standard.
Yeah. Just think of the Constellation 3 and 4, between the 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
That is basically the difference between what we see in the the early concepts and what we see in the 2017 and obviously post 2017 video. It was brought up to a much higher standard. And remember, the entire company is Squadron first. So if there's any polish being done, it's going to be happening in Squadron first. So moving on to the last 2 years, October, it's first 1 year later again, nothing for an entire year again. October 2020, Art Environment. Archon Station, specifically, is the largest location that players visit in the game. So the team who's worked on Asiato. Okay, now we're talking about Asiato, which we know what that is. We've had several videos on it. We've had a whole Squadron debrief on it. Have now moved from the larger Arc to form a larger Archon strike team. So they finished Archon, and they finished Asiato, and they're back on Archon. So it's a big thing. They began by closing off the hangar and are now starting to break down a kit of shared library assets for use throughout the station. This is driven by a new style guide, that provides a clear direction for the interior to keep it consistent with the previously completed exterior. So, since when was it? About February 2019, when they said the exterior is watertight, and they had collision. That's basically, I'm assuming, somewhere near Gray Box complete. They've been working exclusively for 2 years? No, they've been working almost an entire year on the interior layout, flow, corridors, rooms, areas of the interior. Even though they've been working on that for several years previous. Like we said just a minute ago, they had to update a lot. So, I would love to... I can't wait to see the actual documentary. Because they've been doing a documentary and documenting a lot of the development of Star Citizen Squadron 42 behind the scenes while this work has been going on. I really hope to see all this contrived evidence dealt out in a more concise and chronological and seeing visuals of it instead of just reading about it. That will be nice for the least. Okay, so we move on to 2021 May. Narrative throughout May. The narrative team focused on expanding environmental storytelling paths for the Shubin Interstellar Archon Station, which included additional posters and advertising to help set the desired mood. The hope is to create a dynamic living station that immerses the player wherever they look. Moving ahead to June 2021, Art Environment Archon received further interior and exterior work, while Chapter 15 and 19 made great progress. August 2021, Art Environment Elsewhere focus was on Archon Station and Chapter 7, 15, and 19. So basically since... Where was it? It was... Since February 2019, they said nothing but Archon. But January, they said... where was it? No, they said Archon. Never mind. I just didn't highlight it. So, all 2019, they said specifically Archon. 2018, they said Shubin Mining Station was the last thing they said. So, that is everything, and I could go through a ton of pictures. Basically, I'm just going to go with what I have open. Okay, so let's go through the images I have collected. This was actually an earlier part. I don't know if this exact portion got in the vertical slice, but we've seen a version of this in the vertical slice. Looks like the characters are a bit older than the vertical slice happened. But we see Archon Station. I believe this is a much older model as well because it has that roundy bit. And in the earlier concepts, it had a very round front on it. All right, this is the station of the bridge. I believe this is the rear of the bridge that is longer than the bangle. This is Archon Station from the vertical slice. This is, so that right there is this. Right there as it falls off. That's where that is. Now, one thing I'd like to note about this. Do you see landing pads? Tree can't see it. Let me...
So I've looked at it in detail, and I don't know what image you're looking at because I'm watching it on stream and it's delayed.
There you go.
What'd you do?
I streamed it into Discord there. Do you see landing pads?
No, I see what looks like maybe hangars at on the right hand side.
Giant hangars, yeah.
With no landing pads. Yeah.
So remember that a gladius is about the size of my mouse.
Yep.
But there, at least from this angle, no landing pads. But remember, Shubin Archon has 26 landing pads. And from this angle, we can see none of them. And I say from this angle because this is specifically, they could be elsewhere. They could be out on these struts somewhere. But this is a large area that we can see none of the 26 of them. So, gives credence to my, this is not Archon Station B, is some other Shubin station.
Yeah.
So this is the undershot in one of the, I think this was the Squadron visual trailer. So So we got 3 giant lasers specifically, which is also reminiscent of what we see in the kind of Archon-esque, the early Archon things. They were 3 lasers. So they had that cross in the back, and so kind of like a T. All right, so this was in the CitizenCon 2948, I think it was, trailer. So this does look a bit more like that concept art that we looked at. They were talking about Squadron.
Front arm. Yeah.
But still, we can see like all through here. That doesn't look like... we don't see any pads in there. Nor along here. We certainly don't see any pads along here. But we see hangars. We've seen hangars.
Mm-hmm.
Hangars are not
lots of
pads.
hangar space.
But they said specifically 26 pads. So hangar there, and I assume there's hangar there, there, and there. With possibly more hangars out the back. So it's big, but it's not as big as 26 pads big.
If they're there, they are hidden somewhere, and they're definitely not obvious.
And think of all the space that they've said they had to take up. Like, thousands of NPCs live here. Or live in Archon. So, just kind of, like, accept the scale of this. And I think this is just a bit too small. I think this is a lot smaller than Archon. And also, the environment is very different. At least very different from the Archon that we saw in the visual trailer. Or the vertical slice.
Mm-hmm.
So this is him going down the trench. Again, we see no paths on the side. We do see this really cool... I really like the skywalkway.
Yeah.
And we have...
It's a wickedly cool asset, but you don't have that dual arm, or parallel arms with the center bridge thing going on with our Archon Station. It is very different.
Yeah.
The only thing that's the same is the laser arm things underneath.
And the biggest thing, if we go back to this one, is these cyan laser like trails coming off of it, going into the hangar.
Yeah.
It somewhat reminds me of like the stuff happening over at Orison, but these are just lights, not structure. They look like just guiding you into different hangar bays.
Yeah, the Lagrange point stations have those. Well, I think all the stations have those now.
So here are 2 more shots of Archon specifically from 2017. Remember, they were getting mostly complete, at least with the block out and the gray boxing, by 2017-2018, with pushing towards final art. And so just look at the amount of detail that's in here. Remember, this station was next year. So they were at this point, and then this point, a year later. So it seems like that's a bit far to go if you're showing this at this level of detail to scrap this and go for the other one. So the only theory I can come up with
that one almost looks like it's attached to or built into that asteroid.
Ooh, interesting.
Versus being a free-floating thing like the other one.
Mm-hmm. The only thing I could come up with as a just ruin my own what was it called? Argument. Is that they had Station B by the time the vertical slice was done, 2017, and they just didn't. It wasn't enough complete as far as Archon 2017 was complete, and so they were working on it, but it was maybe just in gray box or something, and so they just did the CitizenCon demo with Archon 2017. But they already had the new Archon to swap out later. They already knew it was going to be a trash asset. That's my only theory on what could possibly happen, why we saw this, and then this a year later. And if anyone's wondering where the landing pads are, there. They are everywhere. And to find that, you'd have to go back to the original concept art bits. They're just everywhere. Because they are just... It's a huge station, and there's a lot of traffic on it. So, that is all of my evidence for Station or Archon and the Archon Imposter, or Archon 2, or the Archon Rework, or Station 2, Mining Facility 2, whatever you want to call it. If anyone's in chat here on live, let me know your thoughts. For those listening, wherever you're listening, watching, let me hear what you guys think, whether that be in the comments or whatnot. Do you think that? I'm sorry for those who listen to this podcast. This was a very visual segment.
You can go back and look at the show notes, and you can see all the citations and the images that he's talking about.
Yep.
And you can see there's a significant difference between the two assets, and the fact that one looked one way and another looked another way a year and a half later. It makes it
at
hard
a
to
quality,
believe
at a quality
Yeah,
that's
that they
final art.
Yeah, that they scrapped one and made the other, and that's the new one.
Yeah.
That they did that in such a short amount of time. They would have had to be working on those at least in parallel,
Yeah.
or in tandem.
I will definitely admit that Archon 2017 looks like old Star Citizen, and Station B looks like new Star Citizen. I will completely admit that one.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess for the final say, we'll have to wait for Squadron.
Archon 2017 does share a lot of visual. It does share a lot of its visual appearance with the older stations that we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or at least the concept art for a lot of the older
Yeah,
stations before we got the ones that we have now.
And another point against me, we haven't seen Archon 2017 since 2018. Or technically since 2017.
Mm-hmm.
So, we haven't seen Archon. And that could be because, hey, we showed it. We're done showing you it now. That could very well be it.
Yeah. We haven't seen a whole lot of anything since then.
I mean, that is also very true.
Yeah.
So, and remember, like, I can't stress this enough. The scale is the one thing that kind of breaks it for me. We saw a Gladius fly along Station B, and it wasn't that far. It was maybe, it looked kind of, well, I guess the bridge was 3 times a bangle. But we've seen it just fly along Archon with a javelin next to it. It's also very, very huge. So I think Archon's bigger though. Anyway, that's what I got.
We're just gonna have to wait until 2024 to find out.
Yeah, this was mostly I'm convinced, I want you to be convinced. So this is the history of Archon Station and its possible silent death and replacement. It's been replaced with a clone, an imposter, a skin monster, whatever you want to call it. All right, I'm done talking. I now turn it over to Tree. Tree, what do you have for this week?
All right.